Good morning from my side. So it's easy when there are 14 speakers to be the first one. This is good. Your energy has been renewed overnight. You will need some time over the day to renew the energy when you listen to all the speeches. It's great to speak to people in person. I'm very sure no one will tell me you're on mute. So this alone is something I was looking very much forward to. So this event with a name that I needed more than a year to announce properly because it's so long, finally takes place, and I'm very happy to be one of the persons who can give you a little bit of impulse and input, especially from my company. And with and I don't know how, but they gave me that little additional task to include also especially the effect of circular economy, and I hope that I can do that successfully. So action on climate. I thought it might be helpful for you to understand how sustainability in general and climate change affects and changes the business itself and fundamentally. So therefore, just for a moment, look at that chart and understand the dilemma that a company like Coca-Cola, I'm working for the Coca-Cola bottler, has with these two words. Just because we are selling refreshing beverages. And when I started my career more than 20 years ago, the former bottlers went to a church at Easter, lighted a candle and prayed, "Dear Peter, give us a long hot summer because this will be good for our business. The longer and hotter the summer is, the more we will sell." Sustainability means that the understanding of what's happening has changed. We see that a long hot summer leads to a loss of biodiversity, leads to droughts, leads to effects and dying of trees, of bees, all that stuff. And if we don't take care of that, everything we do will be senseless. So therefore, to take care and take a responsibility to keep the basis of our business is essentially, and to change that also. So therefore, especially for a company that sells refreshing beverages, and you will see later, for example, the amount that cooling equipment, for example, alone has for our CO2 footprint, then you understand if someone, even politicians who are now very ambitious about climate change, would say you are not allowed to place coolers, then we can sell refreshing beverages. So to look for intelligent solutions for energy efficient cooling is a task that we have to deal with now to have a successful business in 10, 20 years from now. So therefore, we, of course, did materiality assessments. And one other thing is, and it was mentioned a little bit already, just because you have two choices. Either you say, I want to do my business as usual also for the next time, I'm very successful. And honestly also, if you look at Coca-Cola again, when I started, Coca-Cola was a kind of synonym for shareholder value. It was as long as the share owner is happy, everything's fine. So we looked at quarters, at half-year reviews and full years. Fine, probably 2 or 3 years. Sustainability means to see what will the market look like in 20 years from now, or in 30 years from now. And also the discussion and dialogue with analysts and stakeholders has changed, just as a matter of fact. Just because they ask now, are you prepared? Can I see in your sustainability report that you are prepared for the business in 20 years? And therefore, surprisingly enough, a lot of discussions with investors start with the topic sustainability, and then you can send us the balance sheets later. So therefore, also the perception has changed. And this is, of course, important. And if you look at that, and I think that's also the other option you have is just to say, if I'm the market leader, then I should lead the market and not wait for someone to come up, being a customer of mine or politician or someone else saying, what are you doing on that, that topic? And you say, good idea. If you are able to lead the market also on sustainability topics, you are a real market leader. So therefore, our sustainability action plan, just to give you a little bit of context, has 6 areas. So that you just heard of it. First one is ingredients. Of course, as you may imagine, what is in our drinks? Most of all, sugar, of course, and we have that discussion about sugar taxes and all that. And if you would not care about sugar reduction in our drinks, changing our portfolio, this would also lead to a loss of business. Secondly, packaging, and I will come to that one later, of course. And our CEO once said, and I like that quote, he said, I can imagine to be the boss of a company that sells beverages without sugar, but I can't imagine to be head of a company that sells beverages without a packaging. So therefore, this is, of course, also very, very important. Society, everything we do also on climate change has also to do with our consumers and the consumers that live with us in our social environment. Then we have the topic of water. You wouldn't be surprised. Our beverages have 84 to 99% water in it. So if we cannot prove that we act responsibly in the use of water, we would have a problem. Climate, I will come to later, and also sustainable supply chain, which has also a little bit to do with climate. So therefore, to put the proof a little bit up front, because I can tell you a lot that I'm convinced that we are doing a quite good job. I never say that something, a company or a product is sustainable. That's something I always reject. I always say probably it's more sustainable than what we had previously, because we are on a journey. And everyone who tells me I'm done with sustainability is out of the discussion, just because you always find something that you can improve. So being Carbon Disclosure Project, Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and also EcoVadis, and I think you can rely to a high degree on their assessments. And we have that public discussion about climate change, Fridays for Future, for example, which leads me a little bit to the politicians, of course, that have to react on that, because it's mainstream more than it ever has been, but also it's a topic that is raised very much by our core target group. And if we, again, if we want to be successful in our business in 20 years from now, we should not lose these intelligent, critical young people. So therefore, even, and I'm speaking as a former marketeer, and even if we would not be convinced that it is the right thing, we should take care of what they say just because they are important for us. Also as future employees of us, because we have a war for talents. And if you are not prepared to convince these guys to work for you, you lose a big, big opportunity. So I don't have to explain that. It's about when are we able to meet the objectives of the Paris Agreement. It's 2050, as you said, some talk about 2030. And I will tell you now that we are going to, or that we just recently have announced that we will be net zero in 2040. Of course, first of all, you can say Making announcements is easy. And I have to confess that also we in the past made some announcement that we couldn't fulfill, but at the end, the more concrete the plan and the roadmap is on that journey, the higher the likelihood that you will meet these ambitions. So net zero until 2040. What makes us so convinced that we can meet that? First of all, and not talking about a hockey stick, we said we will reduce another 30% until 2030 from now on. One probably in your eyes small but really important topic is that it's included in the bonus and salary system for the top management. And you would be surprised how fast you could change some things if the board once out of a sudden asks you, couldn't we change to e-mobility immediately? So, and you were fighting for 10 years to reduce CO2 limits of the company cars, and then it works. So just to mention that. And fourth, and this is also very important, especially when you talk about scope 3, we have to talk with our suppliers and of course with our customers. You may imagine that Coca-Cola, it's not always great if you have a big business because you are the target of a lot of public discussions and NGOs. But in that case, it can be helpful just because when we say to a supplier what we did just last year, we want you to change to renewable energy until 2023 if you want to be our supplier after that. And we want you to set up a plan to become carbon neutral, which is also based on science-based targets. And please share that with us, just because if we do that, then we are quite comfortable that also in scope 3, the reduction will be met. And it also, if you look at that point especially, you see also again how sustainability and the discussion changes the business. Just because in former times, and I know who of you has ever worked as a sales guy or procurement guy, it's always about prices, conditions, and out of a sudden there is a new topic, CO2 reduction. Where are you on that? And they say, oh, no, we want to talk prices, when will you deliver, and when will be the payments and all that. And CO2? Yes, we talk about CO2 to our suppliers. So these are the 4 pillars. Just to give a little bit of proof and a legitimation that we can talk about that, is that we already reduced as a group our CO2 over than 30% between 2010 and 2019. So it's already the first one part of the journey has already been met, and we changed to 100% renewable energy in Germany, for example, in 2015. And it was also quite interesting experience when I talked to students and told them what we are doing, and some of them said, yeah, but why don't you change to renewable energy? And when I told them, we did that 3 years ago, I said, whoop, we didn't expect that. So therefore, also a very important step. This is probably also a little bit interesting to see if you look at a CO2 footprint of a company like Coca-Cola, what is the share of areas? First of all, ingredients, of course, raising sugar, apples, oranges, all that is a quarter of our CO2 footprint. Then the packaging, of course, has to be produced. Also the production the transportation, and last but not least, as I said, the cooling of our products. So, and to give you a little bit of context, how this should look like, and that it's not the hockey stick, as I said. You see where we are until today, 2020-21, with the 30%, and how the reduction should take place. And what you also see in that picture is that we don't look at compensation first, but the main objective is reduction. And if it's not possible to reduce anymore, then compensation starts, not the other way around. So that's a picture that shows a little bit why I told you that the discussion with suppliers and also our customers is so important, because you see that over 90% of our emissions are not within scope 1 and 2. So therefore, of course, we have the obligation to take care of reduction in our own business as much as possible, and to pick up every stone and see what we can improve. But as long as we don't talk to our suppliers and don't change that part of the business, it will be a little bit greenwashing, a little bit, just because someone who will have a closer look at the numbers will say, that's where you should take your eyes on. So therefore, I have to come also to the topic of circularity, and that has a lot to do with the area of packaging. Just because there, and that's just what I said, this plays an enormous role. Reduce and remove, of course, but then also add and drive circularity when you look at packaging. So there are 4 buckets. First of all, making the bottles lighter, for example. And there are and if you have a big business like we have, you would be surprised if you just make the top of the bottle a little bit shorter. If in the amount of bottles we produce, how much this will influence the CO2. Then, of course, reducing virgin plastic to produce recyclable bottles, 100% recyclable. And for example, to give you just one example, I think most of you will know that the brand Sprite traditionally was sold in a green bottle. So most of all should know. For 2 years now, it has changed to a clear bottle, just because we said it is recyclable in a green bottle, but not to that degree as a clear bottle. So therefore, we changed it to a clear bottle. And we want to, at the end, come to 100% bottles made of recycled material. Collect bottles. Of course, we have globally the discussion about plastic littering in the oceans. And we have made a commitment until 2030. Globally, we will take back 1 package for every package we sell. In Germany, for example, we have 100% deposit on our packages and 97% recovery rate. So this is an aim that we achieved more or less already. And of course, refillables and new dispensed solution. So you see, their circularity comes into the play. Just because if you reduce virgin plastic, you have to reuse plastic you have brought into the market. The big challenge for everyone in the market is, first of all, that virgin plastic is cheaper than recycled plastic. So therefore, everyone who makes a commitment on the degree and share of recycled material in its bottles makes also commitment to expenses. And this is, especially in these times, not always easy, but is a proof point if you are really honest and in your ambitious or not. So, and you have to invest for the future again. If we don't look for the solutions for the business in 20, 30 years now, we will not be ready. So, in a nutshell, this is where we want to go. For example, in Europe, the law says 25% recycled material until 25 and 30% until 2030. We want to have 50% already now. And now looking at CO2, you see the reduction, 100% bottle made of recycling material compared to 0% is 70%. So therefore, again, if you look at the size of the business, this is what the effect will be. We have some countries that already have switched completely to 100% rPET. In Germany, we have round about 50% at the end of the year, and of course also refillable business. But we also know, because you can't make of one bottle, if you recycle it from the material, a complete new bottle, you always lose a little bit. So therefore we also need other techniques to clean and recycle also other recycling materials to a food grade. And we will have 80% from mechanical recycling and 20% from so-called enhanced recycling. This is what it's about, and these are the companies and startups we are working with to come to a solution for industrial solution on that. So this is how we want to achieve net zero. At the end, let me also give you some information about Germany, because that's especially my business. You see 60% on scope 1 reduction in these 10 years and 40% until 2010 over the whole value chain. 67% of our coolers have an energy saving device. Of course, they're FC-free. And we have started a challenge to bring the long distance transport to railways. Just because every time you're on a Deutsche Autobahn and traffic is stuck, you will say, why do they not deliver it via train? And we started that. This is a little bit how it started. It's just 2 years. And again, this is not the sustainable solution. But it is a great first step and a great message and signal to the industry. On packaging, some things I already said, 100% deposit, and round about 50% recycled material currently. We have invested 150 million euros in our refillable system in Germany. Also, how it changed the business a little bit from the inside. In Germany, when we were in the global Coca-Cola system at the beginning of the century, the other colleagues asked us, "You still have refillable bottles? Why do you have that? Is that a business from yesterday or something like that? And you have that deposit on NR, on non-refillable bottles? Why did you allow the government to do that?" And we had a lot of discussion about that. And now everyone is coming to us and asking, "That's interesting, this refillable business. Can I see it? Can I see it in the market? How does it work?" And the deposit on NR with a recovery rate of 97%, that seems to be a great solution. And you say, completely new world. So also that, and this I already mentioned, we decided to start to change the fleet of company functional cars to e-mobility. This is, for example, also something I wanted to mention, just because the German translation of our Sustainability Action Plan title, This is Forward, is Handeln verändern, act and change. And I think that's quite precisely what sustainability needs. You have to act and you have to change. And with the company cars, something changes for everyone. And they see it's not always the others who should change something. I have also to change. So, and just a small thing we changed. We have climate neutral events, and the shipments of POP material is also climate neutral. These are some things that people came up with initiatives that we didn't tell them to develop. They came up with it and said, we have that task, and can we do that more sustainable? I said, great, do. And also this happens because it's also a question of motivation. So therefore, I hope I could give you a quite good start and some information for the day. And I'm happy to answer any question in the roundtable later.